It's a nice, cool, sunny day here. And since I have all my critical winter preparation already done, I've got the opportunity to take care of a few other things outside before the first big snow comes. Here's what I'd like to get accomplished. Before I even bought this property, they had cut down some trees, kind of cut them into bigger pieces and threw them into some piles around different places on the land. That would actually make a really great firewood for me. All I need to do is just cut it to the right length and split it. So I'm going to take care of that now. My dad imparted many nuggets of wisdom to me before he passed away in 2003. And one of the most memorable conversations I had with him involved him talking about how much more he knew as he aged. And he framed it in a really cool way, which was every time he would look back to the version of himself that was 10 years younger, he would think, oh my God, that person was so clueless. Now I really know what I'm doing. And it didn't take long to figure out, after a few 10-year iterations, that that process was really never going to end, which means that yourself 10 years into the future is looking back at your current self with some pity, thinking you are so ignorant and have no idea what you're doing. And part of that is just how fast a human being who's committed can acquire knowledge and how much having extra awareness makes a difference. But there's another dynamic that I think is even more interesting. I've noticed it in my life, and I suspect anybody who gives a crap about growth as a person has probably noticed this too. The amount of stuff that I know that I'm completely ignorant about grows exponentially faster than the new awarenesses I gain. So for example, let's say I work really hard one year and I get 2 or 3% more knowledgeable than I was the year before. Well, in that same amount of time, the amount of stuff I know I don't know has like doubled or tripled. And so, relatively speaking, I'm always becoming more aware of how ignorant I am, which on the surface is pretty depressing. I mean, not only am I totally sure that I'm never going to learn or experience everything that I want before I die, but every passing year, I become more aware of more stuff that I'm not going to be able to learn or experience before I die. Thankfully, over time, I've acquired some more productive ways to look at this reality. For one, because my awareness of my ignorance grows so much faster than my actual knowledge, it kind of makes me mechanically bound, if you will, to become more humble as I get older. And I'm not as blindsided when life throws something unexpected at me. Also, it's pretty easy to reframe this sort of sadness about never being able to learn or experience everything that I want with an equal amount of excitement that I'm never going to run out of cool new things for me to learn and experience. I was almost completely ignorant when I started this homesteading journey, and I'm still pretty ignorant. And there could have been thousands of other directions that I went. I could have decided I wanted to become a lobster fisherman, or master the stock market, or become a really great painter. And with all those things, I would have started out equally as clueless. It's well into winter here on the homestead. It's been a couple good snows, and everything's got a coating on it. I've spent the last couple of weeks just processing trees that had been felled before I actually bought this land. There's quite a bit of it, probably a cord's worth of wood, I'd say. And that might sound kind of repetitive and boring, but it's actually been pretty relaxing. I've been going at a moderate pace and just treating it like a meditation, and I'm not in any hurry like I was before, trying to scramble to get my home up and a heat source in it. So it's really been kind of nice. Now, I had hoped to get that all done before all the snow came, and I didn't. I've still got probably 2 more good piles to get through before I'm really through all that older wood. But it's not impossible. The snow just kind of slows everything down. So I'm going to get to that now and get it finished up. If everything I could experience and know fit into a room, I think in my younger years I would have thought I was standing in the room, looking around at all my choices and all the things I could do. And now it seems a lot more like I'm not in the room at all. I'm on the other side of the door, peeking through a tiny keyhole into the room. That's about the amount of awareness that my individual human consciousness is capable of. Seeing this more accurately has created a dual effect in me. On one hand, every year I feel smaller and smaller in relation to all that is. And at the same time, I feel more and more like I belong, like there's a place for me in this great big universe. I finished cutting, splitting, and stacking all the existing piles of wood that were on the land. And in total, I probably got about a quart of firewood out of it, which is great. In total, I'm thinking I'm going to need probably about 5 quarts of firewood in order to comfortably make it through the winter around here. So that gets me 20% of the way there for next year, and it gives me a sense of the pace I'll need to maintain throughout the year to be able to get to that 5 cords of wood by the time winter comes around. Really glad to have that information. Also, it was just really nice to have work that was so different than the work that I was doing throughout the entire rest of the time that I've been here. Now, getting up the Yom was a pretty important thing to get done, obviously. I needed a place to stay when the winter hit. But it was also very mentally taxing. I was having to make a lot of decisions. Some of them were pretty critical, that if I messed them up, it would have really set things back. The work was physically demanding because I was pushing myself to get it done in time. And in comparison, this work was much more in the Zen tradition of chop wood and carry water. It was a really nice pace. I didn't push myself. I worked maybe 3 days a week, just a couple hours each day, and I still got a good amount done. So I'm feeling really happy about it, and I can say for sure that this was my favorite month since I've been here, just because it was such an embodied month. I was just moving my body, and I was getting work done and having lots of time to just kind of relax. Now, that being said, I can't do that forever. There's still some pretty important work to get done on the inside of the Yom. There's some construction work left to do. So in the next video, I'm going to start back up again with getting the inside shower done on the Yom.